Hey everybody, it's Peggy. I'm back with a quick update on my sewing project. So I got in trouble. Somebody yelled at me for calling it a junk quilt, but I call it a junk quilt for a reason. It's a boho quilt. It is supposed to look rustic. Reason why I'm calling it a junk quilt is because because there's no pattern. Okay, most of the quilting I do, I either stick with a color theme, some sort of a pattern to design. And I do quilt as you go, self-binding, and I have my own special way of doing it. This quilt is, just as a reminder, I know some of you saw the previous video when I was doing a bit of an update, but it's been a bit since I've been able to work on it. So this quilt, the whole purpose behind this quilt is to use up extra fabric. No two pieces are the same, and there's no pattern. There's no pattern for what I'm doing here. I just need an extra blanket. I need an extra blanket. I don't want to put a lot of time, energy, or work into it. And I don't know, it's hard to show. It's really hard to show because it's hard to like get this, and I don't want to make anything fray and stuff like that. But so I've got everything in here. Lots of stuff lots of stuff that people have seen in the shop for people that are doing the tarot stuff. So I'm just going to give an update of what I've done so far and show you guys what I'm doing right now. So what I'm doing right now, let me get the camera. The camera's going to be a little bit of a mess today because everything's a mess. Okay. I got some pile of shit and it's everywhere. So what I've got here, these are finished blocks. And again, no rhyme or reason. This is a great way. You can put this into some sort of a pattern as you go. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. This is a great way to get started if you have spare fabric, scrap fabric, whatever. If you have extra fabric laying around that you want to get used up, this is a really, really great way to do it. And I personally feel that it's less intimidating and less problematic to get started when you're just messing around and ending up with something. So yeah, I've got clearly witchy stuff. This is from this is just from a panel that I liked. This is like just nice and pastel-y stuff. These two are similar. They're different colors. I am doing a 70 by 80 inch, a 70 by 80 inch quilt, and I have broken this quilt up into 10-inch sections because these are all 10 inches. Okay, that's the recap. That's where we are right now. So what I'm doing is I'm not trying, and that is the entire goal of this project. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of batting. Batting actually does, a lot of battings do have a front and a back. So if your batting is, sometimes it's really, really textured. Sometimes it's more textured on one side than the other. And if it's really textured, you may be able to feel it through the fabric. So I'm just going to show you exactly what I'm doing. These are, okay, so I've got, again, recap, 10-inch piece of fabric, 10-inch piece of batting. I changed my mind and went a little bit bigger. When I was the first video I did on this, I said I was going to do 12-inch pieces, but I literally have a 12.5-inch ruler, so I just decided to do 12.5-inch pieces. I'm just going to finger press that to get that down. Okay. Now I'm not measuring. I'm just eyeballing it. If you want to just get all these stacked and set aside for later, then go ahead and toss a pin in it. But you want these to be approximately more or less, and I'll tell you right now. Okay, let me back up. I always have to back up because I just get babbling. If you're doing a junk quilt and you just intentionally want it to look, and like I said, I'm not calling it a junk quilt because it's junk. It's going to look a little junky when it's done as an intentional effect, which is boho, bohemian, rustic, all the other things. So I'm just eyeballing this, and that is going to go a long way towards the effect that I'm going for, because I could be in here measuring, okay, that's a full inch, that's a full inch. As long as I'm approximately centered here, I'll be fine. Now, if you want to store these for later, if you want to just, I mean, I've got all this to go through. I have got all this to match up with one of these and one of those to make one of these. These are mini little quilt sandwiches. So let's get in really, really close. Show you where I'm at. Okay. You can see here that has a little bit of the batting showing. A little bit of the batting is showing. So as you're doing this, what you will need to keep in mind, what you should keep in mind. Every single one of these pieces is going to be connected to every single other one of these pieces. Where's some of the one? Okay, so this and this, I'm going to set them out the way I want them, and then I'm going to flip them, line everything up, and then I'm going to sew here, right? And then when this is done, everything's going to be, when this is done, that one will be folded in and sewn down. That one will be folded in and sewn down. I know it looks like a crappy update right now, but these are all going to get folded in. Every single one of these is going to be completely bordered in the backing fabric. So if there's a little tiny bit of something showing, in this case there's a little tiny bit of batting showing, as long as you are convinced that it is going to fold in properly and be able to sew down properly, and that is just get a good seam over the edge, then you don't have to fight with it anymore. You don't have to fight with it anymore. And one of the effects I'm going for, I'm gonna have to iron that piece. I'll take that. This piece has got a really hard crease on the one corner, so I'm just gonna run that over to the iron in a second. Let me get another piece out. I did iron everything, but every now and again you get in a roll, something shifts, whatever. Okay. So the whole purpose here is to do this without putting a whole lot of effort into it. So what this means is that when I'm done, this one here, when I fold it in, might end up being a little wider than this one over here, and that's fine. That's going to actually build on the rustic effect that I'm going for. I am intentionally trying to get the rustic effect so that I'm spending all this time talking and fiddling, but I could have had maybe not 2 or 3, but I could have had a few of these ready to go. So let me just turn the camera. Let me just turn the camera and try and get in here for you guys. I've got my walking foot on because it'll make life a little easier. Okay, I've already said more than once that batting likes to be sticky, so as long as you're placing and doing it right away, if you need this to be perfect, then you're going to want to pin no matter how sticky the batting wants to be for you, but I want this to be rustic. I want a certain degree of intentional messiness here. A certain amount of intentional messiness lets me go a little faster, lets me be a little bit less concerned if things don't line up properly. Actually, it lets me go a lot faster. I'm trying to use up scrap fabric, so I'm just doing my best, and that's what I'm doing. So I've decided, okay, one more. I've decided to do everything in white thread, so you can actually see it going through here. So all I'm doing is crisscross. You do have to sew down your batting, and this batting is rated so that I only have to put a stitch every 10 inches, a stitch line every 10 inches. So I'm just putting a single crisscross through here, and then when this is done, that'll fold up and it'll go all the way around. So that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at right now. So today is the day that I finally got far enough ahead on my other stuff, because, I've got a shop to run. So today is the day that I finally got ahead on everything else, that I can get back to this. I think I'm just gonna stay on this till it's done now. I don't know how that's gonna look. So just put them together, rely on the sticky. And again, I'm doing this intentionally. This is literally just gonna be a spare blanket. I don't have any particular use for it. It's just, sometimes you have a cold night and you want an extra blanket. Sometimes you have company over and they're staying the night and you need to do something with that. So, and I can just set this. I can set this carefully, or I can use a pin. I can just set this carefully out of the way. Get my next one out. Yeah, no, that's not too bad. This particular batting is a little rougher on this side than on that side, so I'm going to try and make sure that the soft side goes up, because that's the soft side. This is going to be the outside of the quilt when it's done. That's going to be the outside. I did have a ton of this. I've got a ton of this. I got a really killer deal on this, so I bought way more than I needed. So I just cut everything. I cut everything using that blue as my background. So you can get as many of these as convenient. And like I said, the whole purpose here is to just end up with a spare blanket. You know, if you want to use it as a picnic blanket, take it outside, get it stained, get it dirty, get it whatever, and don't want to have to care, then you've got that going for you. Back over to the machine again. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. I could just take these and save them up. You could just start a project where you just take these and save them. My lighting kind of shifted again, guys. I keep trying to get good lighting, but anyway, I put on a walking foot because it's quicker. I'm at like 2.8 2.8 for the stitch size, for the stitch length. This is just quilting, top stitching, whatever you want to call it. This is all I'm doing today. Anybody who's following along, some suggestions. If you do a 5x5, 5 of these, 5x5. If you do 5x5, then you've probably got a pretty good pet blanket. 6x6 would be big enough for 5x6 is big enough for a crib. Oh, look at that! This does not have an alarm in it that tells me when my bobbin is out. So I gotta take that off. I gotta take that off. I gotta get up here. Oh, now it's fine. Now that when it's something I don't need. So, doing the bobbin. I'm just gonna do a bobbin right quick. Bobbins are pretty easy to deal with. They really are. You just thread you just take it out of the needle, bring it down here, thread it on. Follow whatever instructions come with your machine. Mine requires me to press the foot so I can actually stop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let it run for a little bit, and then I'm going to cut this extra at the top. And while that's going, I'm going to just bring that other one over here. Maybe start another one. Nah, maybe not. Maybe I will. Maybe I will just start another one. So these are really easy. I've made several of these over the years, and I really, really like doing this. Sometimes I will like take and do small patterns and small stuff, and sometimes I will do what I'm doing now and just use up leftovers. There we go. That guy's done now. Sometimes the motor, if you're doing a bobbin, some machines the motor will just still keep spinning and making noise, and so you have to look up and spot that you have to look up and confirm that the spindle is still moving. But you got a minute. You can do extra things. Then you just rethread your machine. One good habit that I like to be in, because nesting can be a problem. One good habit that I like to be in is that, especially if I'm working on a big project like this, you can end up causing a big mess without even being aware of it. So I just like to grab some leftover fabric, some scrap, and doing a quick. And I mean, my little garbage pail is right here. I just pull something straight from the trash because I don't keep regular trash in here. So my little trash basket here is strictly used thread. There, and then because this is boho, and I don't have to be concerned, I just picked up where I left off and do that. Okay. When you are stopping to put an extra bobbin in, all I do is I just go back over the last inch or so that I sewed, because there's no back stitching, so you have to get that locked down. So the stitch ended here, so I just restarted my new stitch here, and it just locked itself down just by going over itself. So now I can just trim it, and I'm good to go. And also check it and trim it from the back, because you're going to have the loose bobbin. Okay, so I've got 56 of these to do. This isn't as bad as it seems. As long as you can keep from apparently keep from pulling your thread out. Thread coming off is not really a big problem. Really isn't. I know it's threaded properly. It just came off the needle. I must have like yanked too hard or something when I was taking it off. That needs to get fixed. And it's not really broken. It's not really doing anything. And it's not worth rushing in to the repair guy over something that's just catching a little. Next time I take this in for regular service, I'll be able to get it fixed then, and then I get two things done for the same cost. Okay. So again, nice white lines. I'm not concerned about these lines being seen. That adds to the rustic effect. It adds to the whole, hey, I just need a blanket. Screw you guys, right? So that's about it. Okay, so I've got a nice little crisscross going through the center here. I did not measure. I did not make lines. I did not do anything. This is the joy of rustic / boho. And I also didn't care if things shifted a little bit. Once this is all done and this is sewn to this, I'm not even going to look. This is directional. It goes like that. I'm not even going to worry if these match up in the correct direction. I'm not going to like take the time to line them up like that. I'm just going to grab them whichever way they go. So what I'm going to do to make sure that this stays as random as possible is I'm probably going to just throw these. I'm probably just going to reach into a random pile and just start pulling stuff out randomly to make sure I keep it as random as possible. But yeah, this is going to be all over the place in terms of fabrics that I'm going to use. And then when I'm done, I'll be done. Okay, I think that's it for my update. I don't think I have a lot more to go over. I just want to let you guys know what stage I'm at. For anybody who's sewing along here. And yeah, this is it. This is not a straight line. This is not properly centered. I don't care. This is the whole purpose behind a junk quilt, is not being concerned. This is still going to be fine. That will fold in half. That will come up to cover that. And it's going to look great. It's going to look awesome. That's where I'm at right now. That's about it. It's a short update. I've got a lot of things to do. I got more of these to do, but it's not going to take that long. The reason why I'm doing this quilt in this style is because it is faster and it lets me use up all my scrap indiscriminately. I don't have, the whole purpose here. I've got other blankets where I've done, like my dragon quilt, the one that Lisa's unicorn quilt, my dragon quilt. I've done that was done with a pattern and a system in mind to get a really cool look. This is just 10-inch squares. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 by 80, 70 wide, 80 long. It's going to work out to just a little, well, it's not quite queen size, but it's also a little tiny bit bigger than a double. Anyway, that's it. That's where I'm at right now. And I'm going to get going and I'm going to get back to sewing. And then I will try and do another update when we are hooking all this stuff together. Okay, and I'm back with another update. So this actually went way quicker than I thought it was going to. Let me just adjust the camera here. There we go. Okay. So I've got a giant pile of these. Hey, there's a black one. There's a black one, you guys. Now that I've found it, I'm not going to find it again, of course. There we go. Okay. So I've got 56 of these. And as you can see, I've done it as simple as possible. I have just eyeballed it to put it in the center here of 10-inch piece of fabric, 10-inch piece of batting, 12 and a half. I actually put this up to 12 and a half inches so I could be a little bit more intentionally careless and go a little bit faster. So 10 inch, 12 and a half inch. So these are my blocks. Now my next step is pretty simple. I've got to put these together. I did one earlier just for the sake of showing because I didn't know that I was going to get back this quickly. I didn't realize I was going to be able to get them done this quickly. I thought I had things to do and it turns out I didn't. So I need to make 7 strips. I'm doing 7 strips wide by 8 strips long. So I have 56 in total, including these two. I have 56 of these in total. And now I have to chain them together just like I did here in groups of 8. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I am going to try my best not to arrange them into anything. Unless for some reason, like I've got, okay. So I've got this 8. Now I'm probably going to go, I'll rearrange them a little bit within here. Like I've got, this is on black. This is just black. So I might go purple, then the white, then the black, then that, then that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to make strips. I'm going to take, so what I'm going to do to make a strip, this is actually pretty simple. I'm pin, if that's what you need to do. I'm not pinning. I have to have done, I've done a lot of these quilts. So I already know how to grab it, how to fold it. But what you're going to do is you're going to grab, I'm going to start at that end just to keep the pail away from the pail. So I'm going to start at this end, and basically these are going to be sewn like that. So I'm going to line up the batting here as best I can with, I'm off the camera, just a second, let me back up. Okay, I'm going to do my best to line up this batting with this here. So it's going to go like that, right? Now, I'm going to turn the camera. I'm not pinning, but if you're going to pin, then just push them together like that. Make sure the batting lines up. Make sure the batting is tucked in so that it's touching, and then pin or clip this section here that's sticking up. Okay? I'm just going to trust myself and hold it. Now, what I'm also going to do is, okay, some of these have upside right and upside down, and I'm going to intentionally ignore that. So if this is all upside right and this goes in upside down, I'm not going to care. That's a really cool effect if you're doing a square quilt, by the way. If you're doing something that's square, like 7 by 7 instead of 7 by 8, having something that's upside right, upside down, and not caring means that no matter how you turn your quilt, something's always upside right. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to turn the camera, and I'm not pinning because I'm fucking lazy, and we know this. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I already did one right quick, so I'm just going to do the next, I'm going to just do the next few, so that I'm going to get this one started so you'll see what to do next. Because I need to make 7 of these. I'm going to be here for a bit. I actually got the first section done quicker than I thought I was going to do, so I'm going to go all the way from the end, no matter where that end may be. Get over here, foot. And I'm just going to sew across. Oh, I got to make that a little. I'm doing 2.2 millimeters. This is how the quilt is going to connect. So if you think you want that to be tight, if you may want this particular stitch to be a little tighter. So one of the huge advantages of doing this kind of quilting is that you have a lot more control over. So I've got 2 pieces on this side, and I've got 1 piece on this side. Instead of rolling all this bulk up in here, I'm just going to keep it turned so that I've only got 1 piece at a time in here. So let's get some more light. So the first thing you're going to notice here, I just left my camera going, now I got to edit stuff. Or maybe I won't, I don't know. We just had to sort out some lights so you guys can see. First thing you'll notice here is this one here is a little bit longer than that. That'll all get sorted out as we go along. So what you're going to do is, it kind of matters how you're going to piece this together. You can, if you really want to, put all your pieces together and then work on this part, but I will say that then it's just bulky and awkward after that. So I'm just going to get that started. Get that going. Back up a little bit, get the back end down, and as I've been saying, almost every video I say it, back up a little bit, get your stuff lined up, and then your fold just kind of wants to go right in place. So I'm aiming for as close to the edge of this as I can, of the blue here, as I can realistically get. It's not the end of my world if I do it or don't do it. And then just get back down here and fold the rest. Get the next one, fold it in half. Fold it in half to the edge of the, fold it in half to the edge of the top fabric, and then fold it the rest of the way over. Bring it in, do that. I've got my stitch length set at 2.2 right now. That's a pretty good one. And something else that you can do. Let me finish the sentence in just a second. Okay. If you are concerned, because like I said, I sewed these two together, that's what's gonna, that first stitch, the first stitch where you go along this edge here, that's what's gonna hold the blanket together. This on the outside here is just folding it back and getting it out of the way. So if you're concerned that this isn't gonna be sturdy enough, you can always come back and just do it. Come back, line up carefully, put that center right on the right on the center by your thing, and just put a zigzag stitch all the way down. You can do that if you're not confident that you can do that if you're not confident that you're getting a if you're not confident that you're not getting a stable stitch. Okay, I'm just gonna flip that over. I just flip it over to keep this piece up top, and I'm just eyeballing it because I can. And you can really feel the batting. Batting is thick. You're not going to have any problem feeling it. And if you are lacking in confidence or whatever, you can also put your pin here at the corner, okay? And then find the other corner here, put your pin through, make sure they line up, and then just pin it, and then come back and do the same thing at the other end. I should be showing you guys how to do this instead of teaching you all the lazy ways. And again, you would just do the exact same thing here. You would go through that corner, make sure it's coming through the other corner, double check, and then just pin it, and then sew it, okay? And as you're sewing, just double check. You will get the hang of this very quickly, because when you're doing 56 of these, that's a lot of practice, okay? As you're going here, just stop every now and again. Give everything a jolt. I've got the camera, my strip is already getting in the way of the camera, so just double check it if you need to. Just give things a little tug this way, a little tug this way. Make sure everything stays smooth down. And obviously, okay, this is if you are determined not to pin. Obviously, putting a pin at each corner and then a couple of pins just to hold all this together. You know what? Maybe I'll do one properly so you guys can actually see how this is supposed to be done. I'll do one properly. I get going and then just kind of forget how important it is to show you guys the proper steps. Unfold it, flip it over. This part's really simple. This part here is really easy. Fold it. If it ends up folding a little wide, you don't care. You do want this to have you want this to be rustic, to be boho, to be messy, to be junky. It's the whole purpose behind this quilt. Just trust me, it's going to look gorgeous when it's done. Okay, well, this is kind of my second update. My second update in the same video, because I actually thought we had stuff to do and it turned out we didn't. So I got everything done and I'm already moved on to, I managed to get all my squares done, and now I'm on to my next step, all on the same day even. All at once. Okay. Come a little further out. So, let me see what I got going on here for you guys. Let's do the next one by the book. I'm going to do the next one by the book so you guys can see how it is supposed to go if you're doing all the proper stuff. And like I said, I got to start remembering to do that for you guys because, yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a black one. I don't really care whether these match or not. So I'm going to take the black one here. And I am going to, like I said, you're doing 56 of these. And you're going to see this right here. See how these two aren't lined up? You don't care. because it's going to have, some of these are going to be a little thicker than others. You don't care. That's part of the effect. You actually want a certain degree of it. So you're happy if it happens. So you're going to bring this in. So you're just going to just roll this up and get out of your way. How many do I have right now? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will probably find yourself very quickly not bothering with pins. Once you get the hand-eye coordination part of it down, you're probably going to find yourself not really caring. So the first step is to get these two just kind of lined up side by side, because when it's done, and I've already done that, when it's done, they're going to be side by side, okay? Line these side by side and just get this pushed up. Clip it. Like I said, I should have done this first to show you guys how to do this by the book. So here's by the book on this. So you're just going to throw a few clips in. And again, some of these are going to be wider than others. That's okay. Trust me. Just trust me, trust me, trust me. The only thing that I'm focusing on at this point is I don't want anything that's too similar being too close together, but it's going to happen. There's no way around it, because I'm not going to try and arrange something where the whole purpose is not to arrange anything. So let's get the camera turned again. So I just picked it up like that. Everything's clipped so I can pick it up and put it down and move it around. So I'm going to get the first piece in there, and I'm just going straight down, and I'm trying to put my needle right beside that line, okay? It's not perfect, it's fine. It's perfect, it is perfectly normal to pick up this and be able to see little bits of light through this seam in the center. It's just the way that kind of seam works, and it's normal. I'll have to remember in the final update to get that up for you. So now you're just double checking, making sure nothing shifts as you go. Take a clip out. And again, if it really, see, and I still managed to skip a step. Once those clips are in, if it's really, really important, before I brought it over the machine, I could have put the pins at the corners and even a pin in here somewhere. And I totally skipped that step. Trust me, once you've done your first 5 or 6, you're going to go, yeah, whatever, this is easy. Okay. Flip it over. Now, if you have, oh, and I did it, I did some a little bit right here. I don't know if you can tell, but I sewed into the batting a little tiny bit. We don't care. We don't care. Sometimes you sew into the batting, sometimes you don't sew into the batting. We don't care. It's fine. It is all part of the effect. It's part of the charm. It's part of the allure. So you just fold your thing in again. Get it on there. Nope, I didn't flip that. This is a little tiny bit awkward because normally I'd have this entire thing spread out nice and straight in front of me here, but the camera leg isn't, the tripod leg for the camera's in the way. Not the end of my world, but yeah, I've made so many of these now. So many of these. Okay, let's get in closer here too. See that? See how much batting is showing through? I've got almost 1/4 inch. We're fine, because if I have to, let me see if I can fold this. Let me see if I can get this up here where you can see better. If I have to, instead of folding this halfway, I'll only fold it like that far. Instead of folding it all the way in, I'll just fold it in a tiny bit so that I can make sure that I'm folding up and over that. As long as I can fold that so that this piece here covers over that by at least 1/4 inch, I'm fine. And if it's not fine, just bring that back a little bit. Don't fold it all the way to the corner. Pull it over, and it'll get a little bit wider. Watch. I mean, I'll even do it that way on purpose. No, I want that guy's face I want some of that guy's face in there. Anyway, bring it over there. So I'll show you how to do this one by the book too. By the book. There's not really a book. This is kind of a technique that this is a quilt as you go technique, only it's slightly different. It's a technique that already exists. It's just a slightly different take on it, and apparently I made it even better, even more different take. Okay. So what you want to do here to do it by the book is to get your pins out, fold it in the center, fold that back to the halfway, back halfway, fold it back to the halfway, and then fold it over, stick in a pin. Right? And then fold this one in half. What's going on there? Ah, there we go. Fold that one in half, stick in a pin, go right through the batting, all the way out the back, and then fold this one in half, stick in a pin. So this is what you're doing. This is what you're doing if you're not confident and you need... Oh, and by the way, you guys can't see that. If you want a third hand, just drop your foot on it, make sure your needle's up, and then you've got something that'll help hold your stuff in place. Every now and again, it's a really beneficial idea. So you're just going to go like that and go like that. So if you need to do it, and you would do that on both sides, and you would sew one down then the other. So that's how you're going to pin it. I really enjoy the rustic effect, and I've made an entire one of these. When I'm doing them with strictly the 10-inch squares and not doing anything else, I can basically do the entire quilt without using any pinning. It takes some practice, and I don't know how many I've done. Like I've had to have done at least like last year before. I don't want that side. I want that side. There's just a little bit of schmutz I need to push back in. I've done a lot of these. So flip it over. So this is how I do it when I'm not. This is how I do it when I'm just like getting her done. Okay. Match up my corner. Hold it, and trust myself. And you can feel the corner because batting is thick and heavy. Match up the other corner. Take your time, pick it up, shift it around, do your thing. Hold it nice and tight so it's not going to move. Go all the way from the very end. I find this a really easy way to, this is a really good way to practice sewing without worrying about pinning, because the batting, 2 layers of batting and 4 layers of fabric versus just the 2 layers of fabric makes it really easy to tell exactly where you want to put your pin. So it's a great way to get practice on how this works, because there's not as much guesswork as you'd think, because it's super easy to feel where everything is just with your fingertips. Okay. So I have got a fuck ton of this to do, and then I will be ready to join. Then once I have 7 sets of strips, then I will be coming back for another update as I join this set of strips to the next set, to the next set, to the next set, and then I'm finishing it and I'm done. So I'm going to get back to work on that. I could just sit here and leave the camera on and let you guys watch me do this all day, and I'm sure you guys are going to get bored of watching me do this sooner or later. Again, just fold it part way in. Get it going. Get it going as much or as little as you need to do before you're comfortable stopping with your pin, with your needle down. I keep saying pin. I don't know why. I realized recently that I've been pretty consistently saying pin instead of needle. This can get all lumpy, so just give that a little push too. Hold everything down, and off you go. All the way from one end to the other. When you start joining all your pieces together, if this piece here, let me just get that partly folded in. Eventually I'm going to be sewing this to another strip, and if I only sew to here, if I only sew to this part here, this extra piece sticking out is just going to unroll. It's going to be annoying to work with. So yeah, okay. So that's the second part of my update that I'm ready to do. We also realized that we did a video showing me doing an entire quilt. It was like a 2-hour video, and there was an issue with the video, and we are going to redo it and put it back up. So you'll see the entire process on a single video. But this is my update for this junk blanket. I'm still going to call it a junk blanket because I don't know. Maybe people think of the word junk meaning different things, but it's not a junk. It's not a junk. The only reason why I'm calling it a junk blanket is because it's scrap it's all leftover fabrics. Okay. Anyway, flip it over. Add the next one. And I am going to get going. I'm going to get going. I'm going to get these done. I'm going to get going and I'll be back. I know I won't be able to finish this tonight. So I'll be back if I can finish it tomorrow, start piecing this together tomorrow. I might add the next update to this video, but I don't know. I said this is my update and I'm going to come back in a week when I have more time to work on it again. And I had more time to do this on the same day. So who knows when my next update's going to be. But anyway, that's what I'm doing for now. This is how piecing a quilt as you go quilt looks for the quilt as you go process. And yes, I would normally I would be a lot more careful depending on what type of quilt I'm making, but this is literally just a spare blanket that's meant to look like this so that I don't have to agonize. I mean, I would kind of feel weird if I put tons of time, energy, and effort into a blanket that I then end up just throwing in the back of a closet. If I throw this in the back of the closet and don't use it for a year because I end up not needing it, I'm not going to be nearly as butthurt as if it was my... Imagine my dragon blanket. I make my dragon quilt and then throw it in the back of a closet and ignore it for a year. That's going to feel a whole lot different than throwing this guy in the back of a closet because this is just meant to be a spare blanket. Anyway... I said that 400 times already. So anyway, I already did the like, subscribe, ring the bell. I'm taking over the world speech when I thought I was just done my update before, but I'll say it again. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, leave me comments. I love talking to you guys, so leave me a comment. And I'm trying to take over the world one subscription at a time, so I need your help. And in the meantime, I'm going to let you guys go, and you guys have a great day. Bye.